Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video about programming languages and the levels that we talk about. So we often program in Python, and Python is a high-level language. It's a high-level language because it's close to English, so it's close to an English language, close to English. So our commands, such as if and print and other commands like this are English terms. They are not close to what the processor uses. The processor uses only low-level language. As you know, as we've talked about lots of times, it only uses noughts and ones, so it uses binary, and we call that machine code. So binary language that the processor understands is, or the processor can interpret, is machine code, and that is the lowest level language. So when we write in Python, it needs to be converted into a low-level language, machine code. There is an intermediate language as well, which we sometimes call assembly language. And assembly language is sort of a halfway house between these, although it doesn't have to be used. Assembly language uses something called mnemonics, so things like LD 100 for loading into memory location 100, that kind of thing happens, or load from memory location 100. You can have STO for store, and that kind of thing is the way that assembly language works. The difference between high-level language and assembly language is really that in a high-level language, if we write a statement, that can convert into multiple machine code operations, not just one. So when we write one line of code, it can make lots of different operations, whereas in assembly language, it is one-to-one. So one assembly language instruction is one machine code instruction. So the levels of programming language need either some kind of translator. So the next thing we're going to look at is translators. But before we could really do that properly, you have to think about the fact that there are these different levels of programming language, high level to low level. They're high level because it's highly removed from the processor. It's low level because it's the lowest level, closest to the processor, and the language that the processor can interpret. I'm trying to be careful not to say understand, because computers don't understand things. So it's usually best not to use the word understand, because they're not understanding, but they are in reading that language, interpreting that language. They've got a way of knowing what the binary numbers are. So that's called the instruction set. So the instruction set for the processor, they are all the instructions in machine code that the processor is able to interpret and respond to. So we need to convert our high-level language into low-level machine code so that the processor instruction set can be used.